I don't know. Good evening, everyone. This is Constance Vawter for the Spiritual Mysteries of Life. And it's a beautiful day here in Florida, I must say. And it's Cinco de Mayo Day. And I'm going to say something about that a little bit later, but I want to ask you if you would please like and share the show because that's how we get things out and about here. And I'd like to thank Rob for the music and for hosting the show. It's very sweet of him to do all the work that he does. And don't forget the Star Nations magazine. That'll be coming out. May issue will be May 10th, as usual. And so here we are. 1 month ago, we sat here and talked about a lot of things, and everybody was locked down. And now here we are 1 month later, and the doors are going to be open, and people are going to be able to get out and about. Just be safe and be careful. Because here it is. We're going to talk a little bit about the deeper meaning of life tonight. And I was looking at my little thing that they had, that they advertised for me. And I saw that and I thought, I wasn't going to talk about that, but I think I like that. So maybe we'll see what Spirit has to say about it. So as I was sitting here this evening and getting myself together, and really, I have to really tell you, last month I was all mixed up because it was a new time, knew everything, and I got myself all I don't know. I just was on a different time zone. Certainly wasn't on Eastern time, but anyway, so here we are, and I'm very happy that you have come to join me, and in the presence of what I'm going to be speaking of, some of the story that I'm going to tell you tonight you have heard before, but it is when I thought of the deeper meaning of life, I thought it took me right to a spot and a date and time in my life when things got a little hairy or a little complex. Let me say that, and that's where I'm going to start it. I think tonight I might regress a little further back than that, but it's going to start on October, the end of October of 2012. And it's kind of personal in every aspect of the story, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. I got up in the I don't know what time I got up, but it was early, and I had to go to the potty, and so I did. And then I thought, gee, I feel a little dizzy, so I thought I just better just sit here for a little bit. And so I did. And then I got up and I started to walk. And after that, that's when everything happened. We have a tub where I fell backwards and I sliced the back of my head wide open. And it was just a deal. And I had an out of body experience at that time, which I have shared with many. I think I've shared a few times with you. But when you think about the deeper meaning of life, and in 2012, life was complex, needless to say, for me. And when I was laying on the floor, I had the opportunity was given to me. You may come with me now, or you can go back and finish what you agreed to do when you came in. And I said, well, I'd like to go now. And they said, but this is an opportunity for you to grow spiritually. And I said, grow spiritually? And they said, yes. And I said, or the voice said, yes. And I said, okay, I'll go back. And so next thing I know, I was coming to, and I couldn't speak. I thought, I could see, I could hear, but I couldn't speak. And then, of course, my husband realized what had happened and called the paramedics, and they got me to the hospital and took 10 stitches. So, it was a big slice. But anyway, I never told anybody about that. And I thought to myself, okay, I got a second chance. So, and then that Christmas, and I've shared this story with you, my marriage ended after 30 years. And it took a while because, you're married, it takes time to get unmarried. When you're married 30 years, it takes a long time sometimes to get unmarried. For some reason, I don't know all the logistics behind all that, but anyway, it did. And in the meantime, then it was time for me to find a place to live. Well, I couldn't drive. And I thought to myself, I have to put my clock over here because I have to keep track of it and I can't see it on the computer. So forgive me for moving over here for a second. But anyway, and so here I am trying to decide what I'm going to do. And they said, now, next month, you're going to be able to drive. And I said, I am. And they said, oh, yes. Because when you have a head injury like that, 6 months, you can't drive in the state of Michigan. And so I said, oh, okay. All right. That's cool. So I'm driving, and I'm having a friend drive me. And I said to her, I said, I'm going to be able to move, but I have to find the right place. She says, well, let's pray about it. I said, okay. So she stops the car, and we start praying. And she led the prayer, and it was beautiful. And I just sat there, I had tears running down my cheeks, and I thought, oh my gosh. So anyway, we go in, she takes me home. And then we have to go someplace, and I don't remember where it was, but of course, I had to ride in the truck with my husband. And so anyway, something came up in a newspaper, which I never look at. Never look at that newspaper. Well, I had it in my hand, and I was going to toss it. And just the softest little voice you ever, sweetest thing said, oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you. There's a surprise in there for you. And okay. So I take the paper and I hang on to it. And then I'm sitting at work and I thought, oh, I need a break. So I took a break what I was doing and I opened up that little paper. And I'm looking down at it and I'm looking and all of a sudden I see rentals. And I saw condo. And I thought, on Long Lake. And I thought, a condo on Long Lake? How unusual. Because they're all homes and cottages and stuff. So I thought, So I called. And they said that I could take and drive by because the people who owned it were in Florida. And so I said, okay. And so I got someone to take me. And you know that story, because I shared that with you, is that my dear friend Rosie, who is now in the spirit realm, She was so sweet. And she said, I'll take you by. Well, it had rained. We had a lot of rain. And this road, I didn't realize, was a one lane in, and it was muddy. And well, anyway, we got back into where the house or the condo was. And we got out. And she said to me, she says, Connie, she said, I will never come to visit you. This is the last time I'm coming down this road. This is terrible. And I just smiled. I said, oh, Rose, thanks so much for just being such a good, dear friend to bring me here in the first place. And so then she said, oh, so we get out and we look in the windows and everything. And I said, I like this. She said, it's beautiful. I said, yeah, it is. So I said, I said, maybe, I don't know if I can afford it. But I said, I'll call the people and ask, all the other stuff. And so when I called them, she said she had some other folks that were looking at it too. And I said, okay, well, this is my story. So I gave her all my information, faxed all the paperwork over to her and everything. And I told her, I said, it's just me. And I just need a place. And it was right on the lake, beautiful view, deck, the whole 9 yards. And I could watch the swans go back and forth in front of my home. And I could fish off a dock. Can you imagine that? And I love to fish. So that was I just thought, oh, this is too cool. So anyway, so we just kind of, just everything seemed to fall into place. And you see, now, if I hadn't listened to that wee, sweet voice say to me, I wouldn't throw that away. Because you see, the prayer that my friend prayed was so specific. And it just like, oh, and so God found me a place to live. So I was able to make that transition. And then the day of moving came. And my niece, I called her and I said, oh, I'm Anne Marie. I said, I can drive. And she said, okay, I'll be over on such a date. And we're going to pack you up and we're moving you out. And I said, well, Anne, you can't. Aunt Connie, we're moving you out. And I said, okay. Well, there was Anne, her husband, and a crew from the church that I worked with, because I worked at St. Joseph St. Mary's Parish, and the priest, well, he's not a deacon. He was a deacon. Was he a priest at that time? Yes, he was an ordained priest at that time, and just ordained. Daryl Kemp was his name, and just the sweetest young man. Well, anyway, they helped. There were just all kinds of people there, and it got me all moved over into the house and got me all settled in, and it was a magnificent time. Now, when I talk about this, I'm just sharing with you that when you have a desire in your heart and you know you've been given a second chance at life, I thought this has got to be a new meaning for me. A new, everything is going to be new. Well, little did I realize that, let's see, when was it? Let's see. My daughter, Christine, said, gee, Mom, I'm going to take you to Florida for Mother's Day for 2 weeks, for 10 days. It was 10 days. And I said, oh, okay. So we come to Florida. And we ended up in Pinellas County. And it was a beautiful 10 days, and came back home, and we met some of her friends and really nice folks. And in fact, this week, I think they're staying at the condo. They have a timeshare at Treasure Island, and their family all goes there, usually the first week in May. And so the kids are probably there. But anyway, here we are. Anyway, she says, anyway, then a couple of days later, she calls me up. She says, Mom, I'm moving you to Florida. And I go, what? No, I'm not moving to Florida. No, I visited Florida, but I'm not moving there. I have a job. She said, you got to tell your boss you're done. And I said, oh, no, I'm not telling him that. I can't do that yet. Well, she said, well, I'm going down to Florida. I'm going back down and we're getting a house. So she comes down here and she put a bid in and it got knocked out and she come back and she was all bummed out. And I said, well, see, it just wasn't meant to be. And so I just kind of took it at that. Then she calls me up. She says, well, Mom, did you tell your boss you're quitting? I said, no, I didn't tell him that. She said, well, you better tell him that because we're under contract. I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, we just bought a house. And I said, oh, no. I said, I don't know if I can stand this. And so here we are. And so I just have to tell you, I'm seeing some names over here on the side, which I usually can't see, but tonight I can, and I see Neshi's out there, and Lynn is out there, and my daughter Suzanne is out there. She's got, ooh, I got you, looking, she got her mama. Okay, and then Rochelle is here, and I don't know how to pronounce your Esperanza Stevens. She's a new friend of mine on Facebook. And and so we've
I
been
believe it's Esperanza.
Pardon me?
I believe it's Esperanza.
Esperanza?
Esperanza, if I'm murdering that letter.
Okay, Esperanza. Okay, thank you so much. But anyway, she's a new friend of mine on Facebook. And so we've been chatting back and forth and I've really enjoyed that. And then there's Kimberly. Well, how lovely how you all have come on board. So thank you so very much. Well, now to get back to my story, I got to think where I was at. Oh, yeah, Florida. Now, and of course, Florida came. And then, guess what? That was 2014. 2016, we started the Spiritual Mysteries of Life. Now, and that started right in my backyard in Belding, Michigan. I lived in Belding, Michigan. And that's where Denise lives in Lowell, Michigan. But that's where this all started, way back up in Michigan. And I'm down here. And I'm thinking to myself, what's up with this? But Spirit had told me I was involved in a lot of things. When I got here, I jumped right in because I walked away from a busy job and a lot of responsibility and a lot of people. And I thought, I don't know one soul here. And so I thought, okay, I got to come down and I got to get myself together here. So then they found out I was an accountant. So then I had to become the treasurer. And then I became the president and the social club and all that stuff. Well, then finally Spirit said, clear the deck. Just clear the deck. And I said, clear the deck. And they said, clear the deck. Well, then Denise asked me if she could interview me on her show. And that's how the Spiritual Mysteries of Life was born. And so here we are. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you now is that night back in October, when I fell and hit my head, I was given an opportunity. But more than that, I was given a desire in my heart. Because before, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I was very much involved in spiritual work. I was doing readings. I had people lined up outside the church doors waiting for me. Well, then, in the Randy crashed and burned. And well, anyway, that's another story. But anyway, that he didn't want me doing that spiritual work anymore. And so I said, okay, all right. So I kind of put it on the back burner, but I never hung it up because it was my life. I was a little girl. When I was a little girl, I was talking to Spirit. And it's just, and that's another thing I just want to take a second to talk about. It's that if you have a child and that child has a very vivid imagination, that's what a lot of people say. Well, if they're speaking to the other side, don't poo-poo them or make them feel bad or do anything like that, because that that's a given gift. And when I was doing my thing, when I was a little girl and talking to them and, just carrying, I mean, I'd have regular conversations just like I'm talking to you. I'd be talking out loud to them. They'd talk back to me. And, and, and then finally, that's just, and then I had to learn to discern. I had to learn that as a child, that I shouldn't be speaking. My mother took me aside and gave me the guidelines and said, "No, you don't talk about this stuff in front of other people because they don't know, they don't understand, Connie. So you must just be very careful." Okay, and I think I told you in one of my shows anyway that my grandmother was institutionalized for 7 years because she's seen spirits, and they just said, "Well, she's nuts," and so they locked her up. Well, she was institutionalized for 7 years, and my mother finally got her out. But now, you see, and I grew up with that. And I knew my grandma had certain aspects and certain things and she'd be talking, and I'd go into mother and I'd say, "Now, grandma's in there talking to somebody, and I can see who she's talking to. Who is that?" Mother says, "I don't know who that is." And I said, "Well, can I go in and ask her?" And she said, "No, I wouldn't do that if I were you." And I said, "Oh, okay." So that's how that kind of stuff went. So you see, when you have a desire in your heart and you have a meaningful desire that you want to do something, and now I mean I'm thinking I'm in my senior years, and I'm thinking, is it too late for me? And then I got to thinking, no, it's not too late. This is the beginning. This is so exciting. And I'm thinking to myself, I have been so blessed to be able to talk to people about the spirit realm. I worked in the Catholic Church. I told both priests that, well, yeah, I worked under 3 or 4 different priests, but there were 2 in particular that I shared my abilities with. And they they accepted it and didn't get me strung out because I thought, well, you guys better know I have this gift and this is what I see and this is what and that's the way it is. And because they were my boss. And I thought, you guys better know I know what's going on. And so some of the things that we do in life have meaning. Whether you started out as a young person and you have a desire and you say, okay, maybe you want to be a singer, or you want to maybe be a doctor, or you want to do something really extravagant, and you think, I can do that. Well, then set your goals and do it. And if you fail, or if you fall, don't fall backwards. Fall forward. Go forward, because you can pick yourself up a lot easier. And you go on and you find the niches, you find the things that are important to you. And that's what I did. When I realized that this show, and I had no idea that I was going to go from radio to be live TV. That was kind of a shocker because I could sit around in my pajamas and drink my coffee and kind of do my thing. Well, now they say you're going to be on the screen and you're going to be talking to people. And I'm saying, oh Lordy. So we got to change that up a little bit. So, and when we think about things, um, anyway, when I think about them, I try to give everything that I do meaning. When I'm talking to somebody or when I'm listening, and I'm thinking, okay, what does this individual need? How can I help that person? And so, consequently, when I'm doing my shows and I'm not real good at a lot of things. I was an accountant my whole life and a manager of a corporation, and so I was in the corporate world. And I had a desire. I always wanted to sing. So I did sing in the choir, a little. I wasn't anything great, but I did do some recordings in the 80s. And, but you know what? It's just, what I'm trying to say to you is that no matter what life has for you, it has deeper meaning. Sometimes you have to look deeper and search it out and try to figure out what is your internal desire. Where do you want to be? That's the exciting part. And what do you want to achieve? And if you're good at what you're doing and you like what you're doing, because now listen, I know that, I loved my job working for the church. I really did. I was there 10 years and I loved it. And I had the best coworker in the world. And now she's in spirit. But her name was Michelle. And I just loved her. She was just like a daughter to me. We couldn't do any, we were laughing all the time. She had such a quick wit and she would just make me bust out and I'd say, and when things just were, maybe I was getting stressed out and she would throw something out and I'd just sit there and I'd start to laugh and she'd say, okay, I got you. And so those are the things uh, that we have to find and hang on to and keep things going for ourselves. Just like when you say, what's my purpose? Well, what is your purpose? Well, what do you want your purpose to be? If it's doing spiritual work, is it service work? Do you want to be a nurse? Oh, and my little friend, she was a little girl when I left Michigan. Now she's graduating from Hope College, getting ready to go to Wayne State and get her doctorate. I guess that's what they call. I don't know. Anyway, for nursing. And I mean, everything goes, and the children grow up and they set their goals, and they do wonderful things. And when you have a parent that is willing to help and educate and pull things together for their children, and you say, "Oh, listen," and everyone, I know that's true. I said, no matter what your situation is, that you're happy with your children, and no matter what happens, you can have fallouts and that, but you always love them. They may not like you, but that's okay. You say to yourself, I'm all right with that. Because why? Because we are the I am. The I am presence. I am that I am lives within you. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. God isn't up in the sky. God is inside of you. And that's the part that I think that I learned. And one of the things that happens to us all is that we're always searching outside of ourselves. We're looking for someone else to make us happy. We're looking for love. We're looking for everything that's outside of us. When in reality, we need to look within ourselves. We need to love ourselves first and take care of ourselves. This body is a wonderful instrument, and it's when I channel, that's what they call me, the instrument. They said, well, this instrument's very easy to get in and out of, or slide in and out, and things like that. And it's a pleasure to be able to know that you can set your goals and achieve them. And there isn't anything that you can't do. If you need anything, you need to go within. Your body is the temple. Christ told us that. And one of the things that I'm having a flashback, so I have to share this flashback, and I don't know why. It must be for somebody out there because for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I said I might have to regress a little, but we're going to see. And I got to kind of watch the clock here. Is that one in 2003 is when I joined the Catholic Church. Now, I was raised Lutheran, but I went to many, many, many different churches. once I got out of the nest and I got to explore, I went to every church I could find. I was out there looking because I knew that there was something greater than what, no, I just wasn't getting the whole story. And I couldn't find anybody that could do what I did. And and I thought, okay, well, then back in 68, that's when I got introduced to the spiritualist church. Well, then, long story between then and then, and how we got involved in the Catholic Church. And it's part of my spiritual aspect of things. Because in 2002, when I moved to Belding, Michigan, a friend of mine brought me a rosary. And she said, I just wanted to bring you this. I had it blessed by Father Tony Russo. And I said, oh, okay. Well, me, I didn't know what all that meant. And she said, and here's a little book, and it'll teach you how to pray the rosary. And I said, okay. And so then one day I sat down at the kitchen table, and I started to read. And I don't know why I started with the glorious mysteries. I to this day I don't, because there's four other mysteries, or at that time there was only three, but now there's four, I think, or maybe there's five. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The thing is, I started out with the glorious mysteries, and the third glorious mystery of that chain or that series is the Holy Spirit. And when I started to read that, I started to cry. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I couldn't understand why. So I just kind of left it alone. Well, then one day I was driving home from work, and I always went the back way. And there was a little white church sitting out in the cornfield. And every Wednesday night, the lights would be on. And I thought to myself, something, and it kept drawing me and drawing me. And I thought to myself, what's going on with me? I got to go find out what church that is. So, because I was always the girl investigating other churches. So I thought, okay, we weren't affiliated with any churches at that time. So anyway, I drove by and drove up in the yard, and I just sat there. And it was St. Mary's Catholic Church. And I thought, St. Mary's Catholic Church, isn't that a bummer? Mm-hmm. So I went home, and I told my husband, I said, remember that church I was telling you about? I was driving down the road, kept watching. Every Wednesday night the lights are on, and it kept drawing at me. He said, yeah. I said, it's a Catholic church. He said, oh, okay. So I left it alone. Didn't say any more about it. Nothing was said. So in 2002, no, maybe it was the end of 2001, he said to me, he starts getting up and he starts getting dressed. And I said, where are you going? It was a Sunday morning. He said, we're going to church. I said, where are we going? He said, we're going to go to that little white church you were talking about. I said, you ever been to a Catholic church? And he said, no. I said, only for funerals. I said, well, me either. I said, they do a lot of different things in there. And I don't know what they do. He said, well, let's just go wing it. And I said, okay. We walked in, and he said, look who's sitting in the front pew. And they were friends of ours. Had no idea they went to church there. And we've been friends with them for 30 years. We had no idea that that's where they went to church. Because there's another Catholic church, St. Joseph, in Belding. So, there's this, who knew? We never talked about that kind of stuff. So then here we are. And so then the next thing you know, he likes the priest. And I did too. I thought, he's a nice young man. Well, little did I know that the priest's mother was my best friend in high school and was my maid of honor at my wedding. So how about that? Oh, no, not his mother, his godmother. I misspoke myself there. Well, anyway, so that kind of tells you how things got, like, oh, okay, then here we are. Now this is the story this is what I really was trying to get to, is this part right here. Is that um, some of you may have heard of the traveling Madonna, and it's a large statue of Mary, and she's holding the baby Jesus, and it's quite large. It comes in a box. She's in a box. Well, anyway, I go to this. I'll try to cut this little tidbit short. Um, I go to this religious store in Rockford, Michigan, and I go with my friend, and this lady that owns the shop, I'm talking to her and I'm telling her that I had seen this traveling mother. I said, oh, there she is. I said, I saw her at my friend's house. And of course, then my friend said, oh, and this lady comes up to me, she said, would you like to take our Holy Mother home? And I said, oh, no. I said, I wouldn't do that. I'm not Catholic. She doesn't care. And I said, oh, she doesn't care? Okay. She said, this is what you have to do. So she gives me all these things. And so I thought to myself, okay, so we got the book, and I set her in my dining room. I set it all up, and I did every day. I did exactly what the book told me to do. And I thought, isn't that interesting? So then the first thing this goes on, and 9 days go by. You had her for 9 days. So then in the 9 days, I quickly packed her up, took her back, and then she said, oh, she says, you can take her home for another 9 days. And I said, well, and there's more to the story, but anyway. So anyway, I bring her home for another 9 days. Okay. And I set her up this time in the living room. And I had a statue of Jesus that was given to me back in the 70s, Sacred Heart of Jesus. And so I kind of put them together, and a candle, and I thought, okay, this is cool. And so, but this is the important part. Another 9 days goes by. Then here I am. I have to take her back. So it's my turn to take her, and I pack everything up, and I'm getting ready to put her in the box. Now, all of a sudden, I was engulfed, and the next thing I knew, I was on my knees. Then I was laying prostrate on the floor, and I was crying. The energy was so powerful, and I knew I was in the presence of the Holy Mother. It felt like she reached under my armpits and brought me up and looked me and said, my child, job well done. And I thought, what job? What did I do? And she said, Constance. She called me Constance. Everybody called me Connie, but she called me Constance. And she said, Constance, you are going to do wonderful things for a lot of people. So my blessings and you and I are now one. Well, I almost lost it again. So anyway, I got my composure. I never told anybody that story for a very, very long time because it was so precious. And I thought, people won't believe me that the Holy Mother came into my heart. They just wouldn't believe it. And I thought, but it was real. I mean, it was, anyway, so that was part of my opening. And so then and then in 2005, I went to work for the Catholic Church. Seemed like, well, we joined the church in 2003. And then I, started working for the church. And I did. I met a lot of wonderful people and helped a lot of people, but they also helped me. But then in 2012, my marriage came to an end. And so, You see, even though things come to an end, it doesn't mean it's the end. So here we are, and I was given the opportunity to be able to share these stories and my mystic life with you, to be able to ensure in you that everything that you have and everything that you do is within your reach. All you have to do is embrace it and hold it so close and know that everything's going to work out right. There's times when we get things um, that are kind of, you think to yourself, am I ever going to get out of this mess I'm in? How did I get into this mess in the first place? Or whatever. Always go within. The answer is within. Now, I had to do some heavy duty forgiving. And forgiveness is a very, very big thing. And when I was going through the divorce and afterwards, and but one thing I prayed for, and I know I've shared this story with you too, is that I prayed, Lord, don't let me have a bitter heart, because I am so full. I have so much to give. I don't want to have a bitter heart. I want to be able to give to someone else and make them feel what I feel inside. And so here we are. Now I'm giving to you the hope, the desire. Remember that word desire, because it's inside of you. It's not outside of you. It's your heart's desire. And know that you can do, if you want to be a healer, and then you go within, you meditate, you take the time to find yourself, and you reach within and make sure that your authentic truth is within you and about you. You know, we often in this, we talk about the innate. The innate is your exterior, outside your body. It's around you. It's like when people look at you, they'll say, I think I see your aura. I see a light around you. Yeah, you probably do. And I see people's auras all the time. And I can tell when they're not feeling good and when things aren't right. But one of the things that I have never done is I never invade people's privacy as a medium. Um, and that's one of the things that when I walked away from the Catholic Church, I didn't denounce the faith or anything because it gave me so much. And I knew it was a stepping stone to my future. And I thought, you know what? In the process, I learned that I have this innate ability to do certain things that I never thought I would ever be able to do. I never dreamed that I did channel back in the 70s. I had a friend named Shara and her another friend Terry. I used to channel for them all the time. But you know what? Then that stuff all kind of went away, and so I thought, okay, so you put it down. Doesn't mean it's the end. You can pick it up anytime you want. And so all my essence of what I'm trying to say here, that there's a deeper meaning of life in your life and what you presume, just go within and seek the inner knowledge, because you have the ability. Isn't that exciting? You have the ability to do that which you want to do. And you can do it with the help of God, your creator, the source that's within you. He is not upstairs or out there in the clouds. He's right inside of you, and he loves you. He never judges you. He never judges you. He loves you just the way you are. He doesn't care if you made mistakes. He doesn't care. He just loves you. And isn't that a wonderful feeling to be able to know? So, in tonight's talk, the thing that I wanted you to remember of the meaning of life is you don't have to have a head fall like I had to get there. You can do it anytime you want to do it. It's just you have to make the decision. You make the call and you say to yourself, I am going to do what I need to do. And build your desire. If you want to be a concert pianist, then you be the concert pianist. If you want to play that saxophone and you want to just ram it down and say, I'm going to make people jump and dance and do whatever they want to do, then you do it. And you give it all you got. Don't let anybody stand in your way, and don't let anybody take you down and say, well, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? That's nuts. Don't let anybody ever talk to you in those manners. Don't allow it. And another thing I would suggest, because there is a deeper meaning to life, and that's drama. And I really wanted to say something, and I got to get it in here tonight, and that is when you live in drama, it just takes all of your energy. So you have to decide, no more drama. I'm going to step out of that arena, break that chain, break that circle, and do what you need to do to make things right for you so that you are who you are. The I am presence, I am that I am. This is what I say, and I'm going to share it with you. And I know I've shared this with you before, but I'm going to do it again. I am the flame of life in you. I am the flame of love in you. Your life is my life, and your love is my love. The I am lives within the rhythmic beat of your heart. So when you're thinking about things, go within your heart. Now, the next time when I come up, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the soul. Because there's some things that people talk about, and they think, oh, Connie, I don't know about that. And the soul is inside of you too. We have so many things to share and so many avenues to go down. I want to talk about your innate ability to connect with your pineal gland, your pituitary, your thalamus. What do all those things mean? Your third eye up here, and so we've got a lot of wonderful things that we can learn about and set forth. And do not let anyone, not one person, discourage you from your internal desire to be who you want to be. Now, I know our time is up. I think I'm watching this clock pretty close. I think I have a minute left. But I just want you to know how much I appreciate you being here. And I love you all. And I just wanted you to know that life is wonderful. And also, the doors are opening. No more staying inside. We're going to be able to get up and get out and walk, get to where you need to be. The country is going to open up. And through the love of God and all that there is through this universe, we're going to be in a wonderful place. And we have to remember there's always hope. Hope, 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 and love, love, love. And I think that's my time. I'm not sure. I think I am up. But anyway, till the next time in June, we'll see you then, and many blessings. Bye-bye for now.